God bless Henry Mejia. He's bumming around the Mexican leagues, man. He's doing his thing.
Gotta love it.
He's waiting for that Jake Taylor-esque call up. I'm hungover. If you were gonna lie to me, at least could have told me you were calling from the Yankees.
God, I love that scene so much.
On this episode of Three Tool Players, we debate questions around baseball with our favorite segment, True or False. Is the AL East the most disappointing? Did the Phillies make a mistake trading Kody Clemens? Is Freddie Freeman a first-ballot Hall of Famer? And who or who isn't a good boy when it comes to PEDs? All this and more on this episode of Three Tool Players. Welcome to Three Tool Players. I'm Chris Spear, and alongside me, as per usual, are the Hammer brothers, Brian and Dan Hammer. Say hello to the internet's boys.
Hello to the internet's boys.
Ahoy, ahoy.
We're 2 months into the season as we round ourselves into the summer, and it is time for our favorite segment, True or False, where we give you guys some hot takes, and we give ourselves an opportunity to debate them amongst ourselves. And we will start with the very first one, True or False. The AL East is the most disappointing division in baseball.
I'm going to say false because there's a lot of basota across Major League Baseball. How dare you? How dare you, sirs? Yes, the Yankees are the lone bright spot in there. That is true. And I'm not saying that because I wear the Yankees emblems here all week. It's simply because it's not true. There are so many other weaker divisions. The fact that you look at the AL West, you have a cornucopia of awfulness in the AL West. And because you look at teams at 32 and 26, 32 and 27, 29 and 31, these are all meandering teams. Holding out the AL East and saying that they are the weakest, that's just blasphemy. Yes.
Hold on. That's not what we said. We said that they were the most disappointing.
Most disappointing.
Disappointing to who? To people out there?
The most disappointing means that this is the division that hasn't lived up to expectations.
Who expected them to be good except you two chuckleheads at the beginning of the season?
So
I did not.
So for this, we go to our old friend Abe Pacoda. Remember the Pacoda projections? This is what Baseball Prospectus does every year. It's important to look at it because it removes emotion from the equation, knucklehead. If you look at it statistically or what the projections were, the AL East is underperforming. It is a disappointing division. The East has 3 teams that are underperforming according to their Pacoda projections. The Yankees are far overperforming their projections by 14 games. But everyone else in the American League East is on pace to fall short of their projected win totals. I think we're all kind of surprised at the Orioles. Pacoda had projected 89 wins. They're on pace for 60, a massive 29-game swing. And that in and of itself is probably what puts the AL East in the most disappointing division in baseball. But despite the additions of Buehler, Crochet, and Bregman, Pacoda didn't like the Red Sox at 78 projected wins, and they're on pace for 76. Pacoda had Vladdy and the Blue Jays at 84. They're on pace for 83, even with the big winning streak that they've been on over the course of the last few games. The Rays were projected for 82 wins, and they're on pace for 84, so okay, maybe that's not so bad. And in the conversation has to be the AL West, with 4 teams underperforming their projections, and perhaps the most disappointing team is the Texas Rangers, who were projected to win 90 games, but are on pace to win 77. The Angels, Astros, and Athletics are all underperforming, with the A's looking like they will miss their win projection by 7 games, on pace to win 63 games. It's the Mariners, who are the only team in the AL West that are beating their projections. They were projected to win 86 games, and they're on pace to win 88. They're the only ones. But every other team in the AL West is underperforming, according to the projections. In general, there's more disappointment, more underperformance going on in the AL East than there is in any other division in baseball. And it breaks our hearts because no one wants to step up to take down the Yankees.
First of all, I'm understanding this as Abe Pacoda, end all be all. He's the alpha and the omega. I'm going to tell you something right now. Maybe that guy is the one who's flawed here. Maybe he's the one we should be disappointed in. Okay. All right. Because if you look at the Pickles Pub Brigade, that team's been god-awful from day one. The fact that you expect anything more from that team is a fool's errand, my friend. So, Pacoda, take a lap, sir, or madam, or whatever your omnipotent presence should be.
It's a statistical model, sir. I don't think it gets a pronoun.
Okay, so then go tell Skynet that he's wrong.
Fair enough.
That's all you need to do. Moving on.
Are we getting the T1000 into this?
Yeah.
I think we should keep him out.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I feel like
God.
we've seen all those movies and they always end bad for humanity.
Mhm.
So maybe we don't taunt the machine. I'm just saying.
No, just keep buying stock in it. Ride that wave until they nuke us. Boom.
Thing is, Bri, I mean, it's not like we are attacking you. I mean, we're telling you the Yankees are pulling their weight. It's the other teams that are not. The other teams
Correct.
are extremely disappointing in the AL East. So it's not the Yankees. So don't take this as a personal attack.
I kind of do, and I'm rubbing my eyes really hard right now just to make sure that I'm seeing what I'm seeing from you across this video monitor, Daniel. And that is, you guys came out of the gate saying the Yankees are going to suck this year. What a terrible team. Oh, Brian, your team is going to end up in fourth place. Really, Dan? Are we? I mean, we're 2 months into the schedule, and now here you are. Both you and Spear are saying, oh, what a beautiful team. Hey, look, you guys are pulling your weight. Look, no. All right. The Yankees are amazing. The best team in the American League. The best league. Well, listen, this has been a bad weekend to say that the best team
Yeah,
in baseball.
I think you got to settle
you
down a
get your
bit.
ass
Yeah,
handed to you by the
I mean,
Dodgers.
I mean,
So-
Ohtani fell asleep in the damn dugout. What's that tell you about how
Yeah,
awesome we
yeah,
are?
that's
I I hope that lights a fire under these Bronx Bombers. I'm going to tell you right now. So anyway,
This
I
bores
digress.
me. Let's play basketball.
That's right.
And then he served us pancakes afterwards.
That's right. Game blouses.
All right, next one. True or false? PCA is going to make a run at National League MVP. Dan, what do you think?
That's just false. Absolutely false. PCA, phenomenal player. Absolutely. But he does have a teammate in the name of Kyle Tucker that is much better than him. Not to mention, we're talking about the NL MVP. The NL MVP is the creme de la creme. So you're going to talk about the Shohei Otanis. We have the Pete Alonso that has cooled off right now, but still is in the running for MVP. Not to mention Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman has been phenomenal lately. He's batting over 350. I mean, he's just a tough out. So PCA, great player, great all-around player, but not MVP caliber.
So you know how nuts it makes me to agree with my little brother, but he's a little mini Nostradamus over here because I 100% agree with every statement he just made. Like Dan mentioned, he mentioned a couple of strong names. Freddie Freeman, he's been hitting very well as of late, and he's always been a consistent contributor. But basically, Shohei Ohtani has stepped up. He's found his stroke. He's now atop of the home run leaderboard. In fact, he and Aaron Judge were duking it out Friday night, which was actually a lot of fun. I think this was the first time in Major League Baseball history where two defending pennant champions were facing off against one another. And in the very first inning, both MVPs from respective leagues hit a first inning home run. So a lot of crazy fun stats that are there, a lot of great stories. But if you're talking about just simply the National League, you got to go with Ohtani. You can't count that guy out because he wakes up and he's just going to go bonkers on you. He'll find a way to beat you. Speed, power, contact, you name it, he'll do it. So too many weapons in his arsenal that Pete unfortunately cannot overcome. So this question is false.
So I'm going to go true. I like PCA to make a run at it. I mean, is he going to win? I don't know. Time will tell. But I'm going to say he makes a run. He's batting .272 with 15 home runs, 50 RBI, and 17 stolen bases through 58 games. The big differentiator between him and Ohtani right now is he plays elite defense. He leads all outfielders and is second in Major League Baseball in outs above average, which is a measure of how many outs a player is saved. He's tops in the National League in total WAR at 3.3, ahead of Ohtani. Vegas has him with the third best odds to win the National League MVP behind Tatis and Ohtani. So I would have to say true. I think he's going to make a run. And you know, if you had to make a call right now, it would be a tough one because Ohtani he's not pitching. He's just DHing right now. So people like also voting for teams that are in it to win it, and the Cubs are in it to win it right now. But the fact that he has the glove that he does in center field and the fact that the Cubs are making a run in the National League, I think you have to say he's going to make a run. I think he's a serious contender, so I'm going to have to say true.
All right, Spear. Spear, okay. All right, Spear. I have a question for you. I have a
Pitter
true
patter,
false.
little hammer. Pitter
Let's
patter.
get at her.
I have a true false for you. True or false? The Mets would have represented the National League in the World Series if they did not trade away PCA.
Oh, it's true. I mean, if PCA were on the Mets right now, patrolling center field, hitting the way he is right now, that lineup would be insane. Their defense would be exponentially better. I mean, the easy answer is true. We said it in one of our other episodes where it was worst trades ever. That Javi Baez trade with PCA in it, terrible for the Mets, and it's only proven that out to be true, even more and more true as this season has continued. All right, true or false? The Detroit Tigers are for real, and they will win their first World Series since 1984.
This is really tough. I'm going to say false, but not for the reasons you think. Yes, I think they'll go head-to-head against the Yankees. I'll say that they'll make it to the World Series if they do overcome the Yankees. But the answer's still going to be false because there is still somebody on that National League side of the fence that awaits them, and most likely it will be the Dodgers. Ultimately, that's just too much for them to overcome. I still think this is false. Dan, what do you think?
I'm going to go with true. Reason being is they do have the pitching. Their hitting is coming around. If you guys remember, Spencer Torkelson had a bit of an issue with his batting. I know that I think they sent him down to AAA just to figure out his swing. Came back. Right now, he has 14 home runs. His batting average is down a little bit, but everyone else is raking right now. Their offense is there, and they did have the experience with the run that they had last year in the playoffs. And not to mention, they do have three very good pitchers in Skubal, who is arguably the best pitcher in baseball. They also have Casey Mize, who has been phenomenal. And then they also have Jake Flattery. So if you're going into the postseason, you're usually using only three pitchers. Those three pitchers going against them in a playoff setting, good luck. So
Scary. It's
extremely scary. So what I'm taking a look at is I'm taking a look at how the Yankees are. They're a very good team, but Max Fried can only do so much.
Well,
So
you forget. So you have Max Fried. You got Rodon, who is
Rodon is
proof. Really?
compared
say
to
that over the last five starts.
compared to Detroit Tigers and the pitching stat that they have. And who's closing out your games, Brian? Who's closing out your games?
Luke Weaver.
Remind me.
Luke Weaver.
Wait,
Right.
Luke Weaver's been doing really well as the closer. I don't know,
Yeah.
Dan. You might want to back off that.
Yeah, you might want to temper your chops there, especially considering the fact that your closers are popping diet pills, like the senior prom is right around the corner.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, you got to get thin for senior prom there. Stop it. Just stop it. Okay, we're okay.
So the Tigers are for real. That part is true. AJ Hinch is a good manager, and he's at the helm of a juggernaut this season of an offense that ranks fourth in runs scored per game at just a shade over 5. Riley Green, Zach McKinstry, the aforementioned Spencer Torkelson, they're all making contributions. And Javi Baez has turned back the clock to bat .273 with 6 home runs, 29 RBI, and 23 runs scored. Their run differential as a team is second only to the Yankees in the majors. And as we said, their pitching is lights out. Tarek Skubal is looking to repeat as AL Cy Young, having pitched a Maddox the other night. He pitched a complete game shutout against the Guardians on 94 pitches. That's bananas. It's bananas. Casey Mize looks good coming back from injury, and they have Jackson Jobe, who might be a Rookie of the Year candidate with a 4-1 record in 10 starts. All of that said, I can't pencil them in for a World Series win. There are too many good teams that will be in it to win it. Getting past the Yankees alone is going to be tough. But then I got to agree with Brian. There's the Mets, Phils, Dodgers, Cubs, Padres, Giants, and maybe even the Cardinals waiting from the National League. Too many good teams to just hand them the World Series win right now. I'd have to say false.
I love everything you said there, except for the Cardinals. The Cardinals, to me, are those stoner kids that wait till the very last minute to study for an exam, or they're the ones that get the perfect SAT scores to get into Brown or Harvard. But for 4 years during high school, they're literally stoned in the back of the room. So here's what I say to St. Louis. Eat a bag of it. Stay out of our business.
Say what you want. They're on pace right now to win 92 games.
Yeah, those stoners know how to play ball, man.
I mean, say what you want. But they may be there. If they can keep up this pace, they're on pace to win 92 games. That's going to get them in. It'll be the Dodgers, the Padres, the Cubs, the Cardinals, and the Mets and Phils. And that's who's going to be in the playoffs. So as of right now, if the season ended today, those are your playoff teams.
Ugh, I hate the Cardinals.
True or false? The Phillies made a mistake trading Kody Clemens. Dan.
I'm going to have to say false on that. The reason being is we didn't have a spot. Now, don't get me wrong. Kody Clemens, I felt, has always been a great player, but with what the Phillies have on their team right now, we just did not have a roster spot for Kody Clemens. Right now, if you take a look at the team, if you take a look at the utility players, we do have Edmundo Sosa, who is playing out of his mind right now, batting like over 350. We have too many guys out in the outfield with Brandon Marsh, Max Kepler, and Johan Rojas. So there wasn't a spot out in the outfield either. Not to mention bringing up Weston Wilson to go against left-handed pitchers, because Kody Clemens, since he is a lefty, he's going against righties. We already have that in Brandon Marsh, and we also have that in Max Kepler. So keeping him was going to be a disservice to him. He doesn't belong in AAA. He's better than AAA. He needs to be in the big league. So I feel that the Phillies did the right thing, and they traded him off so he could be a starter in the major leagues. Love him, but just did not have a spot.
I don't think this was a mistake on the Phillies' part.
Mhm.
To Dan's point, they have a logjam of talent right now. Another question I'll ask is, why is he even up? There are so many other players potentially that are better than Kody Clemens across the board. I'd venture to say that nepotism has swung its ugly face into this whole situation. And part of why he sticks around is because Daddy is around. And
That's tough to say. Roger
I'll
Clemens
go
is
as-
persona non grata with baseball nowadays after the steroid thing. That's tough to say.
No, it's not, because here's the thing. When it comes to nepotism in baseball, I'm going to stand on this soapbox for a moment and say, hey, if your daddy played baseball before you did, you had a leg up. You had a name, or you had just inside tracks that most folks don't get the benefit of. I'm going to go as far as to say that anybody that's in baseball, because daddy got you into baseball, I want you completely taken out. And that goes for all of you folks up in Toronto. You know who your name is. In fact, you know what? I'm going to go to the hall and I'm going to take away Junior's plaque because
There
daddy
you
got
go.
him into baseball.
That's right. Get
right?
that
I'm
Griffey
gonna go to-
kid out of there.
Yeah.
That Griffey kid, because of daddy.
Nepo
That's right.
baby Ken Griffey Jr. Get out of here. Give us your plaque back, you son of a.
You're not good at baseball. You're only good at
Get
baseball
out.
because everybody laid down for you. No, I'm kidding. Like, no, Griffey's the man. Griffey Jr.'s the man. But I'm just going to go on a
He's
limb.
so much the man that he said no, he will never play for the Yankees.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other affair, and that's fine. He had every right to. But still, if he chose the Yankees, maybe he'd have a World Series ring on one of those digits. I don't know. Just throw that out
Oh,
there.
good
for you.
Lord. I'm gonna say true to this. I think the Phillies might have called that putt a little early. Kody Clemens was traded to the Minnesota Twins on April 26th from the Phillies for a bag of balls, basically. I mean,
Gas
when
considerations.
it's
Yep,
cash considerations, which is a bag of balls.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as he got to the Twins, he debuted for the Twins on May 3rd. From his debut on May 3rd to May 27th, he hit 5 home runs, including one in his debut, with a 356 average and a 1.265 OPS in his 58 plate appearances, which was the best among major league hitters with at least 50 plate appearances during that span. He's seen time at first base, second base, and both outfield corners for the Twins, which is demonstrating his versatility. And the Twins have been 17-4 since Clemens joined the team. Coincidence? I think not.
I'm happy
But
for him.
I agree. I'm happy for him too, and I agree with you, Dan. This is a classic case of a player needing some at-bats to really get going. And the Twins gave Clemens that opportunity. He's made the most of it. But don't you kind of wish the Phillies were able to hold on to him and give him the opportunity themselves?
You do, but it's kind of hard to figure out a spot for him.
And
You
it's
really
also
do.
kind of hard to do that considering, the Phillies being in first place. It is an embarrassment of riches and talent that Philly has. I hear what you're saying, Spear. If you could have held on to him and maybe he turns into something. But again, this kid's going to be 30 years old next year too. So there's going to be so many other pieces of talent that are out there, younger talent as well. So yeah, Minnesota caught lightning in a bottle real quick. Good for them. Congratulations. Still hate your Nepo baby, but that's the way the cookie crumbles.
All
You know
right.
what? I have a good feeling that he's going to be about a 25, 30 home run guy in the
Especially
next
when he
couple
takes the steroids, right? Like his daddy did.
Oh
His daddy
my
was showing
God.
everything.
Oh, come on. All right, true or false? Freddie Freeman will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I have to couch it with this. There are only 3 first basemen ever elected on the first ballot, not including Lou Gehrig, who was inducted as part of a special election. But there were only ever 3 first basemen that were elected on the first ballot. They are Willie McCovey, Eddie Murray, and Frank Thomas, with Albert Pujols very likely to join that club when he's eligible in 2028. So with that, true or false, Freddie Freeman will be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I'm going to say false. I don't even think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think he's a fringe Hall of Famer at best.
Oh, come
Oh,
on.
wow.
Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. I'm going to say
Fringe?
Fringe. He's a fringe Hall of Famer.
Get out
Okay?
of here.
Listen.
You're out of here. Gord.
The way that his numbers look right now, if he stays on pace, then yes, he'll be a Hall of Famer. But he has to keep up the production, and he's not getting any younger. When you look at what he's put up, he's still not at 3,000 hits. He doesn't have 500 home runs. I'm thinking about some of these magical numbers that people land on for statistics. Yes, the man is a winner. Yes, the man has been on multiple World Series champions. Okay, the guy knows how to win. I think he's a good egg. I really do. I have nothing against Freddie Freeman except for the fact that his numbers at this moment don't reflect him being a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, I will eat those words. If 5 years from now he keeps up his production, he hits the 3,000th hit, the 500th home run milestone, and I'll say happily, yes, first ballot Hall of Famer, let him in.
Not to mention he's an 8-time All-Star. He'll probably make the All-Star, so he'll be a 9-time All-Star after this. He's an MVP.
In the COVID shortened season.
In the COVID shortened season, but the guy rakes, man. I mean, like, he has an over 300 batting average. He is on pace to definitely hit over 3,000 hits. And right
No,
now,
he's not.
No, he's not.
you don't think
he's
so?
not. No, he's not.
He's only got 2,300 hits right now.
He's got
Yes,
2,300 hits.
How,
He has.
dude is 30. Dude is 35 years old.
Yes.
Yeah, how many more years do
You
you think he's
don't
got?
think you don't think he's going to get 3,000 hits?
To get to 500 and 3,000 by the end. Let's say he plays out his contract with the Dodgers. He'll be 38 years old. To get to 500 and 3,000, he's going to have to average 40 home runs and 184 hits for the next 4 seasons.
You guys are talking about playing out his contract with the Dodgers. You guys don't think he's going to re-sign for 2, 3, 4 more years after that? I think that this guy is going to play.
42?
He's 41.
No.
I definitely believe it. The way that he is hitting right now, you take a look at his last year's, his batting average. Okay, let's go back from 2020. Batting average for his MVP shortened season, 341, 300, 325, 331. Last year was 282. And this year right now, he's batting 374.
How many hits did he have last year?
153. And he was injured.
That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
But
he was
before
out.
that,
But before that, yes, he's averaged 180 or so hits for his entire career per season. And he's going to have to do that as he gets into his age 34 through 38 years. Very rarely do players have that kind of success and health well into the late stages of their career, unless you're Julio Franco and you play till you're like 48 years old.
I'm predicting he is going to get over 3,000 hits. He's not going to get over 500 home runs. He's not that much of a home run hitter because he usually averages between 25 to 30 home runs a year. So more than likely, he's going to be around 450, 440, 450.
Yeah, that puts him in Jeff Bagwell territory. Jeff Bagwell, 449 home runs for his career.
Yes.
Was he a first ballot Hall of Famer?
He was not. Again, there were only 3 first basemen that were first ballot Hall of Famers: McCovey, Eddie Murray, and Frank Thomas. And the closest comp for Freddie Freeman right now is going to be Eddie Murray.
Yeah.
It's not a good comp.
But that's the only comp for a first ballot Hall of Famer.
What I'm trying to tell you is, no, it doesn't, because Eddie Murray was also a switch hitter too. So Freddie Freeman, sorry, he's not in the same conversation as Eddie Murray.
Murray had 502 home runs, 3,255 hits, 1,917 RBIs, and was an 8-time All-Star. He's the closest thing to Freddie Freeman if he wants to be a Hall of Famer. If he's going to hit that magic threshold, that 500, 3,000, that's the closest comp. Let's put it this way. That's the status he can reach if he stays healthy for the next 7 years, and he's going to need that long to get there.
I'm sorry. As much as I like the dude, I just think that there's too much going against him in terms of father time and just the breakdown of skills, etc.
Okay,
so,
let's.
plus the Dodgers. I'll go a step further, Dan. One more thing. The Dodgers are also going to stay competitive, and they've got more money than God. So they're going to want to upgrade too. Freddie Freeman is not going to get the same kind of at-bats or attention playing for another team, especially when he's pushing 40 years old, to get those opportunities. So,
And I'll go you one more further for that too. At some point, Freddie Freeman is going to be too old to play first base well. And Ohtani already has the DH spot locked up for the foreseeable future.
Yep.
So where else does Freddie Freeman go?
To the Phillies.
I mean, all of this said, Freddie Freeman has a career WAR above 65, which is already Hall of Fame worthy.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of his career, he's going to look more like a Tony Perez or a Orlando Cepeda, neither of which were elected on the first ballot, but they're Hall of Famers nonetheless. The pushback I will give is that he's a fringe Hall of Famer. Right now, this second, he's a Hall of Famer because he's going to finish his career with the numbers like a Tony Perez who had 379 home runs or Cepeda who had 379 home runs. He's going to have a better batting average than Tony Perez. He'll probably be somewhere in the Orlando Cepeda who finished with a career batting average of 297. He's going to be in that neighborhood, and he's already got a better career WAR than the both of them. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. I think he gets in on the second or third ballot, and I say he goes in as a Brave, not as a Dodger.
That's going to be a tough go right there because now let's say hypothetically, let's say the Dodgers do re-sign Freddie Freeman. I feel
At
that
age
he would
38.
At age 38. I feel
Okay.
like he would put on the Dodger hat going into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he'd be old enough to forget the fact that he wore a Braves uniform at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's that, but that's Dan, you're spot on because you're going to hook on to the team that you saw the most success with and contributed to, and
A World
if
Series.
the Dodgers, and if the
Mhm.
Dodgers make a run, and as scary as I'm going to say this, being a Yankees fan, if they pull like a Yankees run like they did in the late 90s and Friedman's a part of that, I mean, you put him in the same types of conversations with like those core four Yankees to say, all right, if I'm going to the Hall of Fame, this is the hat. It's going to be on my plaque.
All right, true or false, there will be another PED suspension before the end of the year. This will be adding on to our Jurickson Profar and Jose Alvarado PED suspensions from earlier this year. So true or false, there will be another PED suspension before the end of the year. Dan, what do you think?
What I'm going to say is I'm going to say false. You don't want anything bad to happen. With the way that teams are organized with their staff, their training staff, their facilities and whatnot, not to mention agents always hovering over every player saying, do not take certain things. If you take a look at a rap sheet, I'm sure that every player in MLB has something in their back pocket saying, this is a complete list of what not to take. So I have a good feeling that no one else is going to be hit with the PED bug for the 2025 season.
I say false. Baseball's testing policies and procedures have decreased the number of suspensions significantly from the early aughts since when it was first put into place in 2005 until now. The last really big name player that was suspended was Fernando Tatis Jr. in August of 2022. We usually get 2 or 3 per year, and usually early in the season when players are away from their ball clubs and outside of their training regimen. I think we got our 2 this season in Jurickson Profar and Jose Alvarado. We don't usually get bans later in the season, largely because the teams and their training staffs are working closely with the players. We mentioned Tatis, who was suspended after the All-Star break, and there was Orelvis Martinez, who was suspended in June of 2024, just 2 days after his major league debut with the Blue Jays. His excuse was that he was trying to start a family and he took a fertility drug that contained clomiphene, which was a PED that's on Major League Baseball's banned substance list. But by and large, these things don't happen that much anymore. So I will say false, knowing full well that some knucklehead will come out with some insane excuse for why they tested positive for something. But I will say false to this.
Interesting. All right. So we have 2 false, which means you've also given up your right to also guess which team and which player it might be.
Yeah,
So,
I think neither Dan nor I wants there to be
Wants it
something.
to
like
well,
this
it's not a
again.
question of want as it is more of a, hey, do you think this is going to happen? So I'm going to swim against your stream and I'm going to say true. I think there's going to be one more person that is going to test positive for performance enhancing drugs.
Oh, good Lord.
And I believe that's going to come from the Minnesota Twins, and it'll be Kody Clemens.
Son of Roger.
Because Daddy will tell him how to try to stay in the league. Now, I'm going to play a little game with you since we're talking about PEDs right now. And that is since 2005, when Major League Baseball really started to crack down on PEDs, there have been a butt ton of folks that got nailed during their Major League Baseball seasons. If you had to guess how many people got nailed for a PED, how many would you say there were?
If we're going from 2005, I mean, you're going back to when it was the PEDs were still a bit in full swing. I'm going to have to say from 2005 to now, I would have to say there has to be at least like 80 to 100.
Based on the data from 2005 on, I've got a total of 86 players. Some are counted more than once.
Wait, so are you saying that my number between 80 to 100, well, I was pretty spot on?
Well, you chose a range, but if you were playing the Price is Right yodeling game, then yes, you would win the fancy car.
You're
Daniel.
damn right. I used to love that game. That's such a great game.
And here you are, Dan. You got a yellow Yugo. So that's a lot of fun, but we're going to go a step further. There were 4 teams that have not been bitten by the PED bug in their major league ranks. The first one here is the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, whatever you want to call them these days. They're Angels, and they really are. Although they are not Angels in the minor leagues, because in the minors they have been roughed up a little bit with PEDs. The second team is in the NL East, and that is the Washington Nationals. Ironically, there is no corruption in our nation's capital.
Yeah. Bum.
Thank you. Be sure to tip your waitresses. Try the meal.
Man.
So that just leaves 2 remaining teams, 2 good boy teams. Who are the 2 good boy teams, you ask? I will tell you. We have the Arizona Diamondbacks. Apparently, snake venom doesn't show up on PED scans, I'm told. Yeah. But they're still suspect, in my opinion.
That's more of a psychedelic drug than a PED. That's not
it's true.
Enhancing.
And, well, you know,
they're probably licking frogs out there or something. I don't know.
I'll tell you right now, Dan, it's tomato out there with the snake venom.
There's a lot of cacti out there. They're probably doing peyote and all that good stuff.
I mean, we're totally turning off that Southwest market, aren't we, with this podcast, boys?
Oh no, they're loving it. They know it. They're all for it.
There is one team in the National League Central who's never been bitten in the majors or the minors, and that would be the lovable Cubs. Chicago Cubs, the north side. People get confused that Capone was all Chicago. No. Capone was south side. All right. That's Chicago White Sox territory. So the Cubs had nothing to do with any of that stuff. All
Capone was a White Sox fan.
Capone was a definite White Sox fan.
Yeah. Straight up Black Sox. He was probably dealing in the Black Sox back then.
He knew Arnold Rothstein. He knew everything that was going on in terms of the gambling. So I'm going to tell you right now, the Chicago Cubs, total good boys and girls there. And you want to know something? Maybe if they did decide to roid up sooner, maybe they wouldn't have had to wait over 100 years between World Series rings. I'm just throwing that out there. Let's just specifically look at teams that have been nailed, okay? By team, there are 3 that have the most offenses. There's one in the AL West, and that is the Seattle Mariners with 7. But there are 2 teams that are tied for that same amount at the top of this awful PED pyramid. And that is the Philadelphia Phillies with 7 and the New York Metropolitans with 7.
Let me ask you a question. Where are the Yankees in that mix?
Oh, gee, I'm glad you asked, Daniel. We've only had 3 instances at the Major League level.
Yeah, but you had like one of the biggest ones when you had A-Rod.
Now, can I say something now?
I have the microphone, and you'll hear every damn word I have to say.
All right, you know what? I'm stepping in. Go ahead, Dan. Get in there, Dan.
This is what I'm going to say now.
Go ahead, Dan.
They learned it from the Bronx Bombers because you know what?
Who's they?
All right, here, Melky Cabrera.
Melky Cabrera wanted to get back to the Yankees, so he started taking steroids.
They learned it from watching the other guys.
You all right? I learned it by watching you.
I learned it by watching you, Dad. There's Andy Pettit.
Hey.
Let's talk about Roger Clemens. Heck, let's talk about Robinson Cano. I mean, dude, they learned it from watching them.
Right.
They
You're
learned
right.
it from watching them.
You're
So
absolutely
you
right,
can
Daniel.
say 3 people all you want, but you know what? They got it from the Bronx Bombers.
They didn't get from the Bronx Bombers, Daniel, because I'm
Oh
going to
yeah.
tell you right now, this happened
just
on
like-
your
just like-
watch. This happened on Spears' watch. This happened on the Sal Mariners' watch. Okay. Your boy Cano, yes, he got nailed in 2020, and he's out for the 162.
Cano got nailed twice as a Met, and the Mets had Guillermo Mota get nailed twice. They had Felix Heredia get nailed. They had what the hell is his name? Uriki or whatever the hell his name was.
I'll pull your team up right here, Spear. Would you like all
I
their
already
names?
know what the answer is, fool. The Mets, the Mets have the claim to fame of having the only player to receive a lifetime ban for PED usage in the form of Henry Mejia. Mejia failed 3 separate drug tests, leading to a lifetime ban in 2016. He petitioned for reinstatement in 2018, and he was granted it, but the Mets released him. Then he tried to hook up with the Red Sox, but he never made it out of the minors, and he's been bouncing around the Mexican leagues ever since. So
Yes.
I know this already, and you don't have to take your time to embarrass me with the rest of our listeners. I know all of this, so what are you trying to accomplish?
Well, I want you to know that your boy landed in a very soft place in Mexico right now. He's getting paid a handsome amount to pitch for them right now. In fact, he signed with... Sorry,
Yeah, good luck pronouncing this there, buddy, because you have butchered the Spanish language at every conceivable turn.
I have not. It's
I
not
can't
Basota.
wait to hear you pronounce this team. Go for it.
Okay, hang on. I had it right here. Oh, this is going to be tough.
Yeah, go ahead.
He landed with the Charlos de Jalisco team, which for Spanish, I don't know what that translates to. Probably should have done that ahead of time. But he did get released by the Seraperos. And
You know, it was worth it for you to do this segment just to embarrass yourself trying to do Spanish again.
no, I'll tell you right now, I'm still doing my best. I'm listening to that Rosetta Stone, and it's helped me wonders. But listen, I just wanted everybody to understand that nobody is safe from PEDs. This has been a lot of fun. I really think that somebody is going to get nailed this the rest of this year. Maybe it's not Kody Clemens, but it'd be hilarious if it is. But all told, when I look at this just laundry list of rascals and folks that just really try to get away with it, your 2 teams stick out like sore thumbs. So I want you to go home and sleep on that and think about, because the big guy with the big microphone here is talking, okay? And I've only been nailed 3 times, and you guys are dirty.
Yeah, they learned it from the Bronx Bombers.
Did they get nailed here in the Bronx? They did not. So
yeah,
hey,
but they learned it. They learned how to put the needle in. So we can talk about it. How about
that's all
Giambi?
Hearsay. That's all hearsay.
It's not hearsay. It's been well documented.
By who? By who?
There's been reports. You know what? Forget you.
I know there's reports. I'm just saying.
Saying
wherever. All I'm telling you is where it landed. Okay, and it landed on you. If this was a bad, PED game of Monopoly, y'all landed on go to jail. That's where you did.
There you go. There's our favorite game. It's true or false. It's our favorite recurring segment. My other favorite recurring segment is when Brian butchers the Spanish language, which I hope we continue to do often.
Hey.
Okay.
¿Dónde están las chicas en esos vestidos?
Oh my God.
Where are the girls in the blue dresses?
Oh man.
Pedro here, al baño, por favor.
There you go, Daniel. Good job.
Muy bien.
Muy bien. You can find every episode of the 3 Tool Players podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, or on the YouTubes, or wherever you get your fine podcasts. And you can check us out on x.com at 3toolpod and TikTok at 3 Tool Players. For Brian and Dan Hammer, I'm Chris Spear, and we say adios for this episode of 3 Tool Players.
Adios, muchachos.